Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. It's your boy Rami over here, and I'm just making a video tonight. And it's a very interesting video because, in my spare time, I like to study religion and faith. And, I come from a Christian and a Muslim background, so I really like to study the Bible and the Qur'an as well. Based off my research recently, I've found something that was to me, very groundbreaking, very interesting. When comparing the Bible and the Qur'an, especially when it comes to the character of Jesus and his story. So one thing I want to mention are the Gospels in the Bible. So obviously we have the Gospel of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. Now, when it comes to the chronological order of these Gospels, Mark is the earliest at about 65 to 70 AD. That is the earliest gospel, and in my opinion, that would make it the most reliable gospel because it is closest to the time of Jesus, peace be upon him. Then we have Matthew and Luke, which came at about 85 to 90 AD, and then Gospel of John, which came at about 100 AD, so about 100 years after Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Now, there are two main stories I want to focus on here that are very interesting. The first one is in the Qur'an, Jesus is given the title Isa ibn Maryam. Now, Isa ibn Maryam, translated to English, means Jesus, the son of Mary. That is a title that he's given the most in the Qur'an. And one interesting thing is in the earliest Gospel of Mark 6:3, we see that he is titled, "This is Jesus, is he not the carpenter, the son of Mary?" Okay, so when we look at this, we see that Jesus is given the title as the son of Mary, which was a very interesting title for somebody that has a lineage, of a Jewish ancestry. However, we find that later on in the chapter of Luke, it calls Jesus the son of Joseph. So suddenly Joseph, Mary's husband, comes into the picture in the later gospel. However, in the earliest gospel, he is titled as the son of Mary, which synchronizes very well with the Qur'an and how it titles Jesus. But one thing that was really striking for me, guys, in my research between the Bible and the Qur'an, is the story of Jesus and his birth. So obviously in the Bible, it is a popular story that Mary was married, had a husband, or had a caretaker called Joseph. Now, he is accounted for in 3 of the Gospels. However, in the earliest Gospel of Mark, Joseph is not mentioned at all. So there is no mention of Joseph in the earliest gospel and most reliable gospel of Mark. As a matter of fact, Joseph only shows up in the later gospels, the later 3 gospels. However, in the first gospel of Mark, Joseph has nothing to do with Mary or the childbirth of Jesus. Like he's not there. He's completely gone. Likewise, we find in the narrative of the Qur'an that Joseph isn't involved at all either. There is no Joseph in the picture. So what we see here, interestingly, is I find that the Qur'an aligns with the very earliest and most reliable Gospels, or Gospel of Mark. It is most in tune and in line with the earliest and most reliable Gospel, which comes at about 65 AD, as I mentioned. Now, that kind of goes to show that the language of Jesus and his titles also drastically changes between the Gospel of Mark and the Gospel of John, which is about a 40-year difference, minimum 40-year difference between these Gospels. But the Gospel changes drastically in its language. We see that the Gospel of John gives Jesus a much more messianic, a much more godly-like concept, whereas in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus has a much more humble title, given Joseph isn't mentioned, his name Jesus, the son of Mary. All of these things align with the Holy Qur'an, and that's very amazing to me. And a lot of Christians probably don't even know this. Like, they're used to seeing, you know, during Christmas time, the major there, you have like the image of Mary with the three wise men, and then you have the baby Jesus, and you have Joseph there as well. But the interesting thing about that is, well, in the earliest gospel, Joseph isn't there. And just like the Holy Qur'an, Joseph is also not there in that story. He is not present. And the title, Jesus, the son of Mary, is totally parallel to the earliest gospel of Mark, where Jesus is called the son of Mary in Mark 6:3. So I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. I think it's a very interesting kind of parallel there between Islam's version of Jesus and the very earliest Gospels version of Jesus. They seem to align and agree with this particular story. And I just feel that not many Christians know this, that Joseph is completely absent, and the son of Mary is, a title that is attributed to Jesus, peace be upon him. And don't forget that the Holy Bible calls Jesus a prophet over 20 times throughout. And I feel like that is a lot more of a clear and concise title that is given to Jesus, as opposed to him being God himself. I find that takes a lot more kind of gymnastics to get to that point, whereas him being called a prophet is a lot more clear and stable throughout. But anyways, guys, that's just my kind of, research that I found so far between the religions of Christianity and Islam. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Peace.